Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday. So the beat goes on. It seems like we're never going to get past this banking crisis here. Hey, we only had another train derailment with toxic chemicals on it yesterday in Lake Havasu, Arizona, but that one won't make the news anywhere because, nothing's spilled yet. Okay. But we have to talk about this banking thing still because it affects all of us, whether or not you have an account at those banks. The big one that's been on everybody's mind, has been Credit Suisse. And Credit Suisse stock, like I told you the other day, is down to $1 a share. I mean, it's tanked 75% this year or something like that. I mean, it's just on the verge of going under. It still wouldn't surprise me if we saw it go under here very soon. I mean, the Saudis came out the other day and said, quote, absolutely not to giving Credit Suisse any more money, any more assistance. Okay. It's a pretty bad one. You got to go to the Middle East to bail you out. Well, yesterday you had the Swiss bank come in and bail out Credit Suisse, okay, to the tune of something like $54 billion. That's still a drop in the bucket. I mean, remember, we bailed out Silicon Valley Bank with $25 billion. Credit Suisse is getting twice as much, but Credit Suisse is a huge bank, okay, global, not just California. So Mrs. P and I were talking yesterday, and she was listening to a Russian economist talk about what their take is on what's going on with all the banks in the United States. And to make a long story short, because she's translating for me as we're going along, his suggestion to the Russian people, buy gold. Go figure, okay? Everybody is seeing around the world that we're not just we, the United States, the world is in a world of hurt. Okay, this is something that can completely destroy the world economy. Now, how does this affect you? Well, remember, we still are sitting on the precipice of Build Back Better, the Great Reset. Okay, how do you build something back? You have to destroy it first. How do you reset something? You have to destroy it first. If anybody thinks this isn't part of the plan, okay, to destroy the world's economy through the Fed, through raising rates, through all this other crap, you're sadly mistaken. Don't forget, we've also got BRICS, okay, the alternative, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, trying to create a separate group, if you will, that would compete economically with like a NATO. Both of these come into play. Now, here's the catch, and Mrs. P and I were talking about this. How does this affect all of us? Now, you and I don't have an account at Credit Suisse. We don't have an account at Silicon Valley Bank or a Signature Bank or anything like that, or whatever the next one to go is. The next mid-sized bank that people have heard that is on the cusp is Fifth Third. Okay, that they could be in a world of hurt. Their stock is tanked this week too. But how does this affect you? Well, do you know what bank your grocery store uses, your hardware store uses, your electric company uses, whatever it would be? Indirectly, this stuff can affect you, right? And we don't know how the other banks are invested, whether they're highly leveraged in treasuries and have lost their ass, whether they're highly leveraged in mortgages or auto loans or anything that are, people are struggling to pay as the economy gets worse and worse and worse because of Joe's policies. So I'm going to give you this, okay? We talk about CBDC all the time, and this is what they're going to do. I want you to think about this for a second, okay? The current holders of U.S. debt And we have, remember, was it $31.6 million or 31.6 trillion? Let's get that first letter right. In debt. Well, we have a GDP of about 26 trillion. Okay, so yeah, 131%. Remember, these are the largest holders of U.S. debt. Okay, foreign and international countries. Okay, and companies, 36% of our debt. Pension funds, 15%. Individuals, buying through like Treasury Direct, 13%. Mutual funds, 11%. All right. So if you think about this, better than 1/3 is owned by foreign entities, companies, individuals, governments, whatever it would be. And then you're looking at another almost 40% that is owned by you and me, either directly or indirectly, whether you directly have it, owning T-bills, whether you have mutual funds. Go look at the top holdings of the mutual funds that you own. Chances are there's some treasuries in there, and maybe in your 401k too. Okay. And pension funds. And we've all heard how pension funds are underfunded everywhere, don't have enough money. They've lost their ass here in the last 9 months. Okay. So what happened? This is Mrs. P's idea, and it actually makes a lot of sense. Again, remember, she's gone through a country collapse in her life. Okay, so she's got a little more experience on this than the rest of us, and God knows, you talk about anybody that lived in the Soviet Union or lived in Russia, they know about hedging currencies, because the people there will take their rubles and buy dollars, take their rubles and buy euros, whatever it would be, to protect themselves from the ruble doing this, which it does all the time. So her comment is this. She goes, what happens if they go to CBDC and the government decides we're only converting U.S. citizens and U.S. companies' dollars to CBDC? Anybody that has dollars around the world, sorry, they're worthless now, and we're not converting them over. How much of our debt, if you will, could we get rid of? Because what we're doing there is we're killing some of the dollar, which is Jerome Powell's whole idea. Remember? He wants more people unemployed. He wants spending to slow down so he can bring inflation down. Okay, we have a supply and demand problem right now. We have more demand than we have supply, which is what's causing inflation. So, he wants to slow down spending. Well, how's the easiest way to slow down spending? Kill some of the money in the money supply. What if we just killed all the foreign dollars that said, sorry, they're now worthless? Foreign companies, foreign individuals, whatever it would be. You knock out 1/3 of the dollars that are outside the world. BRICS wants to come in, okay? They want to get rid of the petrodollar, right? Everybody's, oh my God, the end of the petrodollar. Remember, every country in the world has to hold a supply of dollars to buy oil on the open market. If we go to a petro yuan, the countries don't have to do that anymore. If we just make all those dollars worthless, there's no flooding of the market. Oh my God, we're going to flood the market with dollars. If they're worthless, it doesn't do anything. The interesting part is who our biggest debt holders are. China and Japan. Great Britain's third. Okay, and between the three of them, they own probably better than half of our overall debt that's owned by foreign countries. No, we're not trying to hurt the UK. We're not trying to hurt Japan. China, we could stick a dagger in their heart. I'd be happy. But this could be the plan that, and there's part of me that, not the CBDC part, okay, but there's part of me that's going, good, okay? Remember, I've told you since I was a kid, I've been an isolationist. Screw the rest of the world. Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. It's my opinion and I'm allowed to have it. But I don't believe we should be giving money to foreign countries or doing business with foreign countries at the expense of the people in our own country. We are the only self-sufficient nation in the world. Okay, we can feed ourselves. We have enough water. We have enough land. We have all the raw materials that we need to do business. And I know somebody say, well, but you've got rare earth metals that you can only get somewhere else. Well, yeah, when the refrigerator came out too, the only place you could get some of the rare earth metals was Russia. And when the Soviet Union basically really started turning the screws to the United States and says we're not getting any more, what did we do? We innovated a different way for refrigerators to work. And now we don't need those. Okay. Yeah, we can do the same thing with whatever else. Would things get more expensive in the United States? Absolutely, sure, certainly. Okay, U.S. made products are typically more expensive than Chinese made products. Big deal is you don't have to buy one every 90 days when it's a U.S. made product. It lasts you for 40 years. A Chinese made product lasts for 90 days, breaks on the 91st day right after the warranty runs out. Y'all have experienced that. But this is how it affects you guys is with all of this, with all this banking crisis, we are going to see a steady and continuous inflation. All right. Do not expect at all, no matter what the Fed does, to get inflation down to their 2 to 3% goal. Do not expect that. Okay. Maybe in a few years, but tighten your belts. That's what's going on now. Is the plan certainly to bring in CBDC? Absolutely. Is it somehow a plan to isolate the United States? It possibly could be. Okay. And Mrs. P brought up a really good point. The first thing to do is make international dollars worthless, that the only people who can convert them are U.S. citizens. That's actually something I could get behind. If they did anything, that would be a good idea. Screw the rest of the world. You're on your own. You fucked up your own country. You go fix it. We got to fix ours. Just like Ukraine. I'll be damned if I'm going to sit there and ever vote for somebody that'll say we need to fund Ukraine. You say that, you don't get my vote. Period. Okay. No, we don't need to be paying for NATO. NATO can't pay for themselves. Sorry, then get run over by the Russians. I don't care. Okay. Ukraine, you can't defend yourself? Sorry, then you don't deserve to be a country. I don't care. Okay? That's just how it works. Survival of the fittest. And survival of the fittest is something that we all need to remember as preppers. Because when this all blows up, which gets closer and closer every day, who's going to end up coming out the other side? Survival of the fittest. That's us. Pinball out.